Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm getting ready to clean this oscillating fan up. This is the 1981 Galaxy, and I'm getting ready to clean up the blade. It's been in service for a long time now, so it's time to go ahead and clean the blade up.
From the Kentucky River overflowing and essentially filling out streets and this entire town. Beyond here is where a lot of the homes are, and you're going to see dozens of them with water almost to the roof of these homes. We know from those officials that they believe at least 95% of the homes in this town are still underwater right now. We've seen a little bit of receding. It's going down pretty slowly since it crested yesterday morning, but not much improvement. And of course, people who live in the homes behind me can't get access to them right now because of the fact that there's no way in if you don't have a boat. I have seen some people with their own rafts and canoes trying to get around this area, but when we were making our way through the town, seeing things like swing sets underwater, a playground completely underwater, cars submerged, it was eerily quiet because there's no one there right now. People evacuated at this point days ago and are still waiting to get back inside their homes, waiting for this water to go down. And of course, they're worried about what they're going to find. But as you can imagine, those search and rescue teams that took us out, they have had a very busy last few days. This was the first day they hadn't had a search and rescue call come in, maybe today and yesterday, the first 2 days. So they were instead using the time, staying busy by going and checking and shutting off propane tanks that are floating in the water. But they said it was scary moments for a lot of people. They rescued at least 100 over the last few days.
I'd say 95% of the homes in this town are underwater or in water right now. It's just crazy. When it's your town, it's it's different than going to somewhere else and helping other people out because you don't really know the people. But here, just about everybody's here. That's the worst part about it. This right here, it's not really a scary situation as much as it is heartfelt because it's just the people's home. It's a bad deal. They're gonna lose everything they have unless they took it with them when they left.
It's truly heartbreaking, and they've really put this into perspective. These are their own communities that they're in, responding to the scene and making sure people are safe. He was telling me about how some of the families that he was able to rescue from being just trapped in those rising waters the last couple of days. Kids were grabbing stuffed animals, and those were the things that they were important to them. And it's tragic to think about what so many families are going to go back to. He's saying, based on the water and the depth of it, we were boating all throughout this community. He thinks it's going to take at least until Saturday for some people to be able to get back into their homes. Steve.
Hey, Katie, when you think about that length of time, right, all the way to Saturday, and then you think about how many communities and families impacted, you have an idea of where everybody's able to shelter or something like this? This is
who are impacted are staying in hotels or with family and friends right now, but we know there are a number of shelters open for people. So that, I expect them to be busy in the next few days as, people are now going on half of a week almost, not being able to get back inside their homes, Steve.
Yeah, something that we'll be watching, because even, Katie, when they get back to their homes, that process is just the beginning point of trying to clean it out and then rebuild. This is going to be an extensive project, but an important update from Monterey. Katie, thank you. Now let's broaden out the focus of all of this flooding and take you to a situation just by the numbers alone. Right now, we know that at least 8 people are dead due to the flooding, 2 people in Missouri, 5 in Kentucky, and 1 in Arkansas. There was nearly 900 flood reports that were issued by the National Weather Service offices that stretched across 16 states, from Kansas all the way through Pennsylvania. There were 13 flash flood warnings that were issued, 6 of them actually being the highest level of concern. There's flash flood emergencies in Arkansas, Texas, Missouri, and Tennessee. Some of the top rainfalls from the latest round of flooding occurred in Kentucky, both of which got 50 inches of rain between April 1st and April 6th. So we've talked a lot about Kentucky, and then you go to these larger cities like this in Louisville, where you're seeing all of that debris that is in the water as well. And so the concern is beyond just those local communities, but downstream of this, where you're seeing this water really start to rise in these major river basins because all of that flooding is draining into the same tributaries and the same large rivers. And it's not just these major cities like this. I want to show you some spots where at night the concern in areas like northern Arkansas. This is in Barling, Arkansas. You're hearing the audio. This is a water rescue. Imagine how difficult this is at this time of night, going into that depth of water. And you don't know how deep that is. And seeing them use just a rope, right? There's not any specialty vehicles. You don't have a high water vehicle coming in or a boat at all. This is just using a rope, using a life preserver or life vest at times, and getting somebody outside of that water. This was over the weekend, and we know that this was something that played out for days on end. So no telling how long that person was actually trapped inside the water. And then this gives you another aerial view that it's not just an isolated water rescue in a neighborhood, but it shows you what happens when a river overflows its bank. This looks like the main highway that would get you to and from, and right after it came, look at that strike right through the road itself. So once the water does recede, though, we're really seeing that in a couple of days at best. But then the real work becomes of getting the repairs done on this road. It's not just about the water when it will actually leave, but actually seeing if the structural integrity is in place. So effectively, even these communities and homes that you see there, are they able to get out once the water is done? That's another aspect of all of this as well. And so we talk about people that are recovering in these areas. They're not just dealing with flooding, they're also dealing with the frigid temperatures and another looming severe threat. This one, though, is going to be a low-end threat, but I want you to see all of these confirmed tornadoes, 92 of them in total in the first week of April. Look at this area right in here. The reason why is you'll see those confirmed tornadoes overlap where we are looking at for that potential large-scale and damaging wind event. So think about all that debris that's on the ground, the temporary structure that they built in the past couple of days. Will it sustain a significant wind gust, 50, 60 mile per hour plus? 2-inch in diameter size hail coming down. That is the real concern ahead. And it just postpones for hours the crews that are going to go out to build. So here's the timestamp, 7 p.m. local time. Again, most of the volunteer state and the northern tier of Mississippi and Alabama seeing those dynamic storms play out. And then it curls through the southeast, the tail of it still creating some of those impacts for those spots down south. By midnight, by Friday morning, it's already clearing out because of the speed at which this event is coming through, and it's not going to be lingering around, and there's nothing behind it just yet. You're looking at low expectation for the amount of rain, but also another kind of component to this is think about how many of these buildings where you have that vulnerability, where you're trying to build that roof, any amount of rain. I mean, even if it's a half-inch or less, it's going to cause a problem of mold again, right? And you start thinking about how you just started to dry out. We've shown you the extensive flooding, and now you have more rain that's coming in. There's just so many layers to these concerns. It's more than the individual event itself. It's more than just the temperature. Because if you looked at this temperature and you removed it...
All right, let's see what we got.
And this was just on its own, people wouldn't even flinch. They'd be like, okay, we have a freeze warning. Our temperatures dip into the mid-30s one evening. That's not a problem. But it is a problem when you're talking about how many families don't have homes right now. How many families are just trying to figure out, how do I go through the next 24 hours and think about rebuilding everything that they had lost? When we look at the temperatures, thankfully, they don't stay cold for long. Temperatures by Saturday are going to be warming up into the 70s and 80s, but before that, we will see these temperatures into the 70s, and something we'll be watching for is how will that fuel that threat on Thursday afternoon. Nowhere near the same volatility or intensity that we've seen in prior events, but again, it's
All right, that takes care of that. That's about it. So this one's cleaned up. Now I'm going to put it back over there by the bed, and then we're going to get ready to work on the other one with the oscillator. I'll probably do that a little bit later on tonight. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. The Mutt Man, and out.